Longevity motivators, baby.
When did you start playing the drums?
A couple. My dad was a professional tennis player, so I grew up in the world of tennis and traveled around on the tennis circuit all over the world.
Were you almost a professional tennis player?
I was, in my mind, I was almost a professional tennis player.
Is that what you
Imagine a kid from Denmark who swaps his tennis racket for a drum kit and then grows up to punch the entire music biz in the face. That's Lars Ulrich. He's the guy who helped invent thrash metal with Metallica, then marched into Congress and told the world to stop stealing songs on Napster, Hero or Headache. It depends on which playlist or court case you press play on. You'll hear why he once refused to play Metallica's biggest anthem. He's the most hated drummer online. But honestly, you should love him.
Up to San Francisco one time, Lars went into this girl's bathroom that had all these pictures that was beautiful pictures she'd collected over the years of all of these people, musicians that had come in, and he took a beer and he went and squirted it over all of her pictures. And I thought, you little punk, I can't believe you did that. And then he stole a poster from her house and they blamed it on me.
He came from a creative family. His father was a professional tennis player. Initially destined for a tennis career, Lars moved to Los Angeles in his teens to pursue professional sports. But fate had other plans.
The one thing that struck me when I came to America was that in America everybody was talking about making it, and I found that there was a particular kind of sort of goal-oriented culture at play in America that I had not really experienced growing up in Europe. I'm not saying that's better or worse. I'm just saying a lot of kids I would talk to, you come to America and say, yeah, I want to be a rock star, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and in 5 years I'm going to do this. And I just sat there and said, I just want to play Diamond Head songs and sweat in my room. I wasn't like that ambitious.
Inspired by the rising tide of British heavy metal, he abandoned tennis for the drums. It wasn't long before he placed an ad in a local newspaper looking for musicians. That ad would lead to the creation of Metallica with James Hetfield.
There was, obviously pre-internet and all that stuff, there was a classified ads newspaper in the greater LA area that you could get at 7-Elevens called The Recycler, and primarily used for selling, it was like Craigslist basically, like selling cars and selling whatever you would sell, old lawnmowers. And there was a very small, you had to really know where to look for it in The Recycler, musicians seeking bands and bands seeking musicians. Right. And I put an ad in there. It was free, by the way, it was very cool, for a drummer looking for other musicians to start a band. And I put a couple of sort of obscure new wave of British heavy metal bands in there, like Diamond Head and Tigers Pantang and I don't know, Witchfinder General or whatever. And I would get all these calls from, long story short, so a guy named Hugh Tanner showed up one day and he said, can I bring a friend of mine along? And this very shy, introverted, very awkward kid came with him, tall, skinny, and his name was James Hetfield, and we sort of had a jam together. Nothing much happened. It was just, we didn't quite connect. But there was something, because this Hugh Tanner guy was sort of the front line, but there was something about this James guy that I felt the kinship to. And so anyway, I ran screaming out of Southern California back and spent that summer in England and Europe, sort of following bands around, and Motorhead and Diamond Head and all these bands. And 4 months later, I went back to LA. Now it's the fall of '81, and I called up James Hetfield and I said, listen, let's give it a shot.
The rise of Metallica. Metallica burst onto the scene in the early '80s with raw energy and musical fury. Their debut album, Kill 'Em All, introduced the world to thrash metal. Over the next few years, they dropped a string of monumental albums: Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. Ulrich's drumming style, fast, aggressive, and sharp, was central to Metallica's sound. His influence wasn't limited to the stage. Behind the scenes, Lars was a business mind, a strategist, and one of the key reasons for the band's massive global success. But with fame came controversy, and no story of Lars is complete without addressing the Napster saga.
What's at stake is really the control of it.
Okay, an artist's right to own and control his own art.
Yes, that's what's at stake for us right now. At the same time, this is something that changes every 15 minutes with the advent of another technological wonder. So you can only sort of try and trail right behind where technology is going. But right now, what's at stake is controlling that and trying to set some parameters for the future.
And people will say just this point. You talk about there's a new technological development, that what you guys are trying to do is stop technology, and you can't do that. And there's no way you can do that.
And we're aware of that, of course. So what we're trying to do is, as the first artist, to basically come forward and set our foot down and say, wait a minute, time out for 1 second. Let's just sit down and deal with this and try and get both a public debate going on how to control this for the future, and also, you know, in the course of the legal forum, to try and go after Napster and show to the other upstart companies out there that provide similar services that if you're going to do this, you're going to have people like Metallica with very deep pockets who are very tenacious and very emotionally involved in trying to fight this on your back all the time, and whether that's something that you want to continue pursuing, basically.
People say.
In the early 2000s, Metallica became one of the first bands to go after the file-sharing service Napster, suing the company for copyright infringement. Lars testified before the U.S. Senate, arguing that Napster was robbing artists of their livelihoods.
Witnesses for being with us today, and we know that you're all busy people, and we know that you've taken time out from not only busy but very important schedules, and we're honored to have all of you here. Mr. Ulrich, I really look forward to hearing your testimony as well as all the others. So we'll start with you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, my name is Lars Ulrich. I was born in Denmark. In 1980, as a teenager, my parents and I came to America. I started a band named Metallica in 1981 with my best friend James Hetfield. By 1983, we had released our first record, and by 1985, we were no longer living below the poverty line. Since then, we've been very fortunate to achieve a great level of success in the music business throughout the world. It's the classic American dream come true. I'm very honored to be here in this country, and I'm very honored to appear in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Earlier this year, while completing work on a song for the movie Mission Impossible 2, we were startled to hear reports that 5 or 6 versions of our work in progress were already being played on some U.S. radio stations. We traced the source of this leak to a corporation called Napster.
At the time, his stance was deeply unpopular. He was labeled greedy and out of touch with fans who believed music should be free. Lars didn't back down. His argument wasn't just about Metallica. It was about every musician struggling to make a living. While many hated him for it then, history has largely vindicated his stance. The Napster case reshaped the music industry, paving the way for paid streaming services and copyright protection in the digital age. Today, many artists praise Ulrich's bravery in fighting that battle early on.
I'd say the only regret about that 13 years ago was that we were not quite prepared. I think you used the word shit before, so I'll say we weren't quite prepared for the shit storm that sort of that we became engulfed in. You know, it started out as a street fight. It was basically, you know, there was a song that we were working on for the Mission Impossible 2 movie called I Disappear that all of a sudden showed up on radio stations across the country, but it wasn't even mixed, it wasn't even finalized. But so it sort of showed up on all these radio stations across the country, and we were like, well, how did that happen? And I got a call from our office like the next day. It traces back to something called Napster, and we were like, well, if they're fuck with us, we'll fuck with them. And then it sort of turned into it started off as a street fight, And then like a month later, it was like, whoa. Okay. Probably would say after all the Napster stuff, the preconception that Metallica is you know, greedy and cares about money, and is like money hungry or money driven or whatever. That's a very big misconception. And also that Metallica doesn't care about technology. That's completely wrong. I mean, I have 37 Apple products just in my carry-on bag.
Though the scars from fan backlash linger, Lars has never shied away from speaking his mind. Whether it's bashing other bands, disagreeing with fans, or clashing with fellow Metallica members, he's always been upfront, sometimes brutally so.
Sounds like you're adding one more in there on it. Sounds like you're going.
Listen, 5 years ago, you were. Come on.
You're my friend.
Put this thing together.
You're my friend, but I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
No, you're just doing you're doing stone cold crazy, bro.
Come in here and get all uppity and shit.
For the better of the band, he's,
you know, stone
valid
cold crazy
point.
I mean, if we're doing stone cold crazy,
No, it's personal.
I love you, man.
Are you done correcting me?
No. We just haven't played in a while, bro.
Put that thing together when you were like in Mexico.
His relationship with bandmate James Hetfield has seen turbulent times. As revealed in the documentary Some Kind of Monster, the film laid bare Metallica's internal struggles and painted Lars as both stubborn and vulnerable.
I mean, we're in shit moods and we're not going to get anything.
All you want to do is
done
pick a
today.
fucking fight, and
I don't want to pick a fight.
This is so silly. You're just sitting there going, I'm in a really pissy mood, and
I fucking told you straight up that I was.
Right.
And what are you trying to do?
I'm not trying to do fucking shit. You're just sitting here being a complete dick.
Critics have often targeted his drumming style, calling it inconsistent or simplistic, especially in the later years. But for every hater, there's a legion of fans who recognize that Ulrich's strength lies not in technical perfection, but in his raw energy and stage presence. He plays with heart, and that's what fans feel. Play the songs, One, Battery, or Dyer's Eve. Those tracks set the bar for thrash metal in the late 80s and gave the genre a passport to mainstream radio without sanding down its bite. Every modern metal drummer who mixes groove with aggression is lifting a page from Lars's playbook, whether they admit it or not. Outside of Metallica, Lars is an art collector, a film enthusiast, and a devoted father. He's worth an alleged $350 million. So his work is evident. He's been married 3 times and has 3 children. He's spoken openly about his struggles with fame, identity, and his desire to be understood beyond the spotlight. In recent interviews, Lars reflects more on his journey, admitting past mistakes while standing firm on his core beliefs. Love him or hate him, Ulrich has remained unapologetically true to himself. Lars Ulrich continues to tour with Metallica, headline festivals, and connect with fans all over the world. He's more than just the drummer of Metallica. He's become a symbol of resilience, rebellion. Metallica's recent projects, including their 72 Seasons album and global tours, show no signs of slowing down. Lars is a man of contradictions. He's a rock star and a businessman, a hero and a villain, a loudmouth and a visionary. Through all the noise, one thing is clear: his impact on the music industry is undeniable. The controversies he sparked didn't break him. They built his legacy.
You know, we have this saying, which I know people, when I say it to them, you know, they often correct me and go, physically, that's probably not possible, but I'll still say that I like to hear myself say that our best years are still in front of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So even though there may not be another 44, if you look at it specifically and counting them, then I would like to say that hopefully, you know, if if you don't get out of bed every day because you think that tomorrow or today is going to be better than fucking yesterday, or that the record that you're going to make next year is going to be better than the record you made last year, or the project that you're doing with a cool collaborative, brand like yourself or whatever is going to be better than what you did last year, then fucking roll over and stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that is certainly what keeps us getting out of bed every day, and hopefully keeps us going for another 2.